I just got back from a crazy Death March prospecting trip. I think we're about to find some really good gold here. To give you a little background, earlier this summer, I found some really rich gold ore called Listwanite. When I cut it with my rock saw, I looked under the microscope and there were almost bands of gold in it. On today's video, I'm gonna hike up the creek, way up into the headwaters here, and look for the source. Hopefully I'm gonna find some really good gold, and I'm gonna try not to die. I'm gonna try not to get eaten by a bear, I'm gonna try not to fall off a cliff, I'm gonna try not to drown in the creek. So let's go see if we can find some really nice gold ore and some really cool looking Listwanite. So in the past, I found some really good float down here in this creek. And float is a piece of rock that's broken off the bedrock, rolled down the creek or down the hill, and it's just a piece of loose rock. Gravity rolled that thing downhill, so the source, the bedrock source, must be uphill somewhere. So I'm gonna follow the branches up and just keep looking for Listwanite and try and follow it all the way to the source. So it's 45 degrees uphill here, and it's just a jungle rainforest. Well, it's definitely getting steeper and cliffier. Here's where I'm going up. We're starting to get a bunch of rock outcrops, trees, but see, just past the trees there's no more tops, so maybe I'm getting close. Just hope I don't get cliffed out here. Well, I'm in the cliffs for sure. Right over there is just a drop off. Goes way down there. This is where you want to watch out for bears. We're almost at the tree line. They're getting ready to hibernate. They're real hungry. And so you don't want to run into a hungry black bear out here. Or Sasquatch for that matter, I guess. Although it'd be cool if I got one on video, huh? One of the nice things about the Cascades, you don't need to pack water. Oh, that's good. Fresh mountain spring water. Imagine if you could bottle and sell that, you'd be rich. Nowhere, in my opinion, comes close to where I'm sitting right now. This is just, I can't believe there's a place on the earth that looks like this. It's just, there's waterfalls everywhere, the clouds. Listwanite is iron and nickel rich typically, and so it weathers a really brown, dull brown color. And there's a big old patch of brown stuff right over here I want to check out, right in the headwaters of the creek. See how it's all brown right above the snow? Good looking stuff right there. Well, this is kind of cool. I wanted to show you. There's a big dike right here. A big intrusive dike. And what happened here is there was a fault or a crack and some magma shot up in there and cooled just like a gold vein. So you have the rock on this side and the rock on this side is the same. You have this dike in the middle. This is also cool. I'll show you this. More geology stuff. See these striations right here? These are glacial striations. So as the ice drug its way down valley, it made these really cool striations all along the rock here. You can see them really well defined. That's what we're looking for. So the green is nickel, the white is either a carbonate or quartz, and then there's a little bit of dark gray in there as well. And what this is this is a metamorphosed ultramafic rock. That's why it has the nickel in it. Probably in a fault zone, hydrothermally altered, and it just turns out really pretty. Check it out. Look it up on Wikipedia or something. Listwanite, I think is what it's called. But there's a really nice specimen, and they look kind of orangey. Not much going on the surface. The green on the bottom tipped me off to it. We're coming down into the valley bottom here. That thing is running gray, more gray than anything. So they're getting a bunch of warm rain not too far up valley. melting a bunch of ice and snow, and it's coming down there, all the ground up rock. Wow, that looks fast. How am I going to get across there? Oh man, look at these. Beauty. But here's where we're going. It didn't take me hardly any time to get over here. I think we're about to find some really good gold here. I'm right here at the base of this big snow bank. But I don't see any green stuff. I followed the creek up maybe 100, 150 yards from the last time I spotted it. And there's a bunch of brown stuff, but I don't see any green. So I'm not gonna go up there. Look at that piece. Oh man, that's a beauty. That guy's going in the bag. Well, here's a piece I found and I broke open. It just had a little bit of green showing at the top. And then it was this white on top and black on the bottom. But look at when I broke it open. It's got that green in the middle, white and black. It's almost like Dan Hurd's ocean picture stone. Both sides there. You got the land, the water, and the sky. That's pretty cool. What do you think, Dan? Is that worth keeping? That one might be interesting. It's kind of slimy. Let's break that one open. Hammer cam. Oh, that's cool. It doesn't have any green in it, but it's definitely iron rich. See how orange it is on the outside? I wonder if that's Listwanite without any nickel in it. But we got to follow this float up. Here's a beautiful example of glacial striations. You can kind of see them in the shadow. There you go. That rock just sat there and ice just drug across there straight down the valley. This has not been ice-free for very long. Oh, there's a beautiful one. Look at these striations. Holy cow. Just sat there and the ice just drug along the side. Man, look at that. Power of nature. I'm way the heck up here. This is the creek I was following up. I had to go around because it went into a little canyon area. But we'll get, see, there's another nice little, right over here. A nice little looking spot of it. Oh, heck, maybe that whole mountain right there is part of it. But we're definitely, we're in the good spot here. I made it to the glacier. That's kind of cool. I find these all over the place when I'm out hiking way out in the backcountry. That's a balloon. Floated up here and popped, and that's where it landed. Right up here at the toe of this glacier. It's just melting away, running right down into the creek and down into the ocean. Look at how silty, fine silty glacial flowers coming off of that water. But then you look down here and the ice is clear. You can see way down in it. Well, this is interesting. I'm right by this glacier here. There's a big outcrop of what looks like Listwanite. It's not very green, but it's certainly kind of that metamorphosed Listwanite looking stuff. But then here all along the margin is this nice green looking stuff. So I wonder if there's some sort of chemistry that right along the edges of the contacts you get some green mineralization happening. Just came over the hill. We're kind of at this margin zone again, and It's just really, really green. Let me see if I can get my hammer and chisel out. Whoa. Look at all that green. Oh boy, let's get that washed off. Wow, that's beautiful stuff. I wonder if I can break this up, carry some of it down. It's mostly phyllite, and there's the contact where it's super green. Weird. It's right along the contact, right where it hits the phyllite. This is a big chunk of phyllite with a little rind of this green on it. Well, look at some of these beauties. I've got some really, really good stuff here. Man, oh man. I cannot wait to get that slab. Look at the color on that. It's just amazing. Well, I wanted to share a little bit of my limited understanding about kind of what Listwanite is and how it forms. It's an ultramafic rock, so it's originated as like serpentine. And what happens is, I believe this whole valley I'm walking up is this huge giant fault zone. The rock just looks tortured. There's all kinds of slicking sides on all these surfaces, so I think there's just this big huge fault zone right here. And this outcrop behind me, and it kind of wraps around, and I've scouted it out some, and there's just kind of this big blob of what I'm calling Listwanite. And I think what happened was it was originally this lens of this ultramafic serpentine, and it's got caught up in this fault zone, which is real common, where it comes from deep in the earth, comes up to the surface. And then hydrothermal alteration happened, where you had some mineral-rich hot fluids come through, and it altered this serpentine into Listwanite. And that's why you have, even though it's an ultramafic rock, it's full of quartz, and it's full of these minerals that you don't often associate with ultramafic rocks. But it still carries a lot of the nickel. I'm not sure if there's cobalt in there or not, but that's where that green blue comes from. And while I was walking around, I found a piece of kind of unaltered serpentine. You can see right in here, this dark green stuff is serpentine. And so this is somewhere in this fault zone that didn't get hydrothermally altered. So this is the original host rock, and this stuff behind me, this brown stuff, is that altered serpentine that ends up becoming Listwanite. I've walked around the other side of the outcrop, and here's a really good example of that serpentine ultramafic looking stuff. Here's some more of it. And I don't know if I'm going to lie to you here, but I think there's a mineral called actinolite. And that might be what this is. I gotta check myself. But a lot of times what this ends up being is it turns into asbestos. And so this is probably a naturally occurring pocket of asbestos, but you can see those big, long, needly crystals on there. Nice example. And so it's interesting, on this side of the outcrop, you don't have the hydrothermal alteration that we do on the contact zone of the other side. And it's only about 50 feet over to the south there. All right, one last look at glacial striations, I promise. But this is just one of the most textbook examples. All those scratches on the surface of that rock is from that glacier right there, when it was a lot thicker and bigger, and it was just scraping over the top of this rock, causing all those glacial striations. Really, really good example. Hey, look at here. Another balloon. Happy birthday to somebody or something. I guess I'll pack that out. We don't need to leave that up here. Then you got stuff like that. See that? There's ice hiding under some of this rock. So if I take the wrong step, I get whacked. So I gotta go down through that little slot there. See if I can make it. I'm walking down this really cool little finger moraine between these two creeks. And I just happened to stumble across this guy. I think that's a big piece of jade. I think it's a really high quality piece of jade. Holy moly, it's a monster. It's like 100 pounds, but it's just 100% solid jade, I think. Is that jade? I think that's jade. Leave me a comment, let me know. But it's been glaciated, nice smooth face, nice smooth bottom. It's actually probably what you call a faceted clast, where it's been drugged down underneath the ice, and as it rolls over it scrapes one side smooth and turns it kind of square. Anyway, oh gosh, what do I do with it? What's that worth? I don't even know if I could pack it out of there. I think it's like 100 pounds or more. Oh boy. Dan, what do I do? Well, reluctantly it gave up a little piece of itself. I whacked on that for a long time with a hammer and chisel. But I got a little piece. I'll take this down and cut it up too, see what it looks like. So to give you a little perspective, I walked up that moraine, up there, up the creek, into the clouds, and we were right on top of that guy right there. Right there is where that outcrop was. So I've had to come all the way down, and now I've got to go back up over a little knob and down to the truck. But one more view at the scenery here. This is such a beautiful place. Well, that was a crazy trip. I had a lot of fun. The first thing I want to do here is I want to weigh my bag. I want to figure out how much weight I was packing down the mountain. And you guys see it there? It's about 60 pounds. I was packing 60 pounds of rock down the mountain. Hopefully there's some good stuff in here. I think it's time for a new backpack, huh? Here is our haul. I'm really excited about some of these bigger blue ones. I haven't seen anything this blue in Listwanite before, so I don't know if there's some copper in there as well. Copper typically gives that blue color. But let's start right off the bat with a good looking one. That's a nice blue one. We'll chuck that up in the saw and get it slabbed up and see what we can find. We'll get some nice slabs off of this one. Okay, here we go. All right, this is always the exciting part. Oh man, that looks good. Yeah. So now we're gonna crank this in for 5. And now that'll give us about a 1/4 inch slab. And people really like those for making cabochons out of. There's some beautiful, beautiful looking stuff there. Well, I've got several nice slabs off of this one. So now I'm gonna cut it across the grain and make 2 stand-ups out of it. Let's have a look here. Ooh, pretty nice. That's cool. What's this side look like? Ooh, yeah. Good stuff. Here's the next one I want to try. This is that big one I knocked off the outcrop. We'll start nicking off this little edge here. Take a look at the end grain and see what it looks like. But this area up here is where I really want to get into. Let's have a look at our first big blue here. That's pretty cool looking. And that blue is so vibrant. We'll move it over. We'll take like another 1-inch slab or something. Here's our next cut off big blue here. That is pretty cool looking. Wild colors. Our first cross grain cut. Oh yeah. Here's a piece of it up close. Isn't that cool looking? I don't know if that's Listwanite. I think that's something different. I'm not sure what we got here. Wow. It's almost like blue tiger stripes or something. For some of our smaller pieces, I'm going to use this little tile saw. And if I was going to get into it again and start over, I'd start with a little tile saw. This one was like a couple $100 off Craigslist or something. Have a little bucket of water, and you can put your pieces on this tray and just slide them in real slow right into the blade. The blade won't cut your fingers because it's diamond. There's no teeth on it, and it's just real safe, real easy, real cheap. That is so cool. Well, I want to take a quick look at these under the microscope. That's one thing that's really nice about the tile saw is it uses water as a lubricant and coolant, so it's easy cleanup. This is a little microscope I've shown on some other videos. It just clips right onto my phone. It works really, really well. I'm really happy with it. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description below and you can check it out. And you can just clip it on and cruise around. Looks like there's some sulfides there, probably pyrrhotite. But the rock just looks wild under a microscope. Let me turn it over 90 degrees. I've gotten comments that it looks like the clouds of Jupiter or something. Really, really cool colors. I want to find some gold though. Let's take a look at this vibrant blue one under the microscope. Man, look at that color. It's kind of cool, those little brown inclusions in it. But it is just so blue. This is the one I'm very excited about. I'm going to slab it this way, right across the grain. The grain's going this way. And I'm hopefully going to get all kinds of cool, I don't know what to call it, blue tiger stripe, I guess. But I'm going to make a bunch of slabs. This might be the best one out of all of them. Okay, cross your fingers for some really nice blue tiger stripe. Not too bad looking. Take another couple slabs, see what it looks like. And every slab just keeps getting better. Look at that. Blue tiger stripe, I guess is what I'm calling that. Well, unfortunately, it looked like there was a crack kind of right down through the middle. It kept breaking there, but it's some beautiful, beautiful stuff. The blue and the orange together looks really, really cool. And there's the last piece right in the end. There's still a ton of good stuff on there. But the color is just blowing my mind. Well, now let's play with this one. This is that piece of green rock that I found in the moraine. It might be jade, I'm not quite sure. Let's slab a couple slabs pretty thin and we'll take a look. Well, we've got a thin little slab off of there. Let me go clean it up and then we'll shine some light through it so we can see through it. Oh, I don't know, what do you think? There's definitely some areas that the light shines through. What do you think, guys? Is that jade? How do I tell? Leave me a comment to let me know how do I definitively tell if this is jade or not.